Next question from Adam. I invest in the FTSE Global All Cap Fund via Vanguard. When does Vanguard meet to decide which companies are in the fund? When they switch companies in and out, how does this affect my investments?
So it's not Vanguard. Vanguard have a fund, a pot of cash that tracks the underlying index. So what Adam, is asking is, when does the underlying index change? FTSE, in this case, FTSE Russell, it's every March and September, it's twice a year. But basically they can meet every quarter, every 6 months, annually. There's lots of different...
But they change it twice a year.
In this case, yeah. But it depends. And if you look at the index, they'll say how often they meet and when they decide. And certain funds are much more kind of passive in their approach to this, where it's like if a company is of a certain size, it's in the index. Whereas other indexes, they take a bit more of a view. So the S&P 500, if you remember from our conversation with Toby Newbat, he was saying about how they'll weigh up a few things, not just the size of the business. They'll look at, it
has to fulfill all the different criteria.
So it's kind of more active in a way. It's not, it's still relatively passive, but yeah. How does it affect your investments? Well, the idea is that over time, the losers fall out of the index and are replaced by companies that are growing at a quicker rate. You shouldn't see momentary declines. For it to have a huge impact, imagine an Nvidia would have to decline significantly and fall out of the index. This would be huge. I can think of companies, say like an Enron. Yeah. Imagine where it suddenly turns out that what is a huge company is just a fraud. Yeah. Then you're going to notice a big impact. But for the duds to fall out the bottom, I'd say that they'd have been on a pretty significant decline for a long period of time. I can't really think of massive companies that are huge parts of the index crashing and burning in an instant. There was the company in Germany that was also a scam. I can't remember what that was.
Yeah, so it's mainly because even like BP did their big oil spill. They like polluted half the ocean and they still stayed. You know what I mean? So it's like you've got to be doing something fraudulent, I guess, or performing really badly.
For you to like wake up one day and for you to notice this significant reaction in your portfolio as a result of a company leaving the index, that company would have initially had to have been a big part of the index because of the way that they're market weighted, like the FTSE Global All Cap. The businesses at the top make up a large portion of the fund. The ones at the bottom, so the ones at the bottom of the index are pennies. Yeah. So you've got like 1p in this business, say, and it's getting kicked out.
And then another company's coming in to replace that 1p.
It's not like Apple are getting dumped and then you would notice that. Yeah. So another company's coming in. So the ones at the bottom of the index. So if there's 500 companies in the S&P 500, but the top 5 companies make up 25% of the index, you're sharing 75% of the rest of the pot of money between the other 495 businesses. So the ones at the bottom, who are the ones that are being kicked out, are literally getting pennies. Yeah. That was a clip from our episode where we answered your investing questions. If you want to watch the full thing, you can do that right here.